There is something deeply fascinating about the way human civilization has always found ways to name and categorize its wealthiest members. From ancient kingdoms to modern financial empires, every era has developed its own vocabulary to describe those who sit at the very top of the economic ladder. These labels are not just words. They carry history, power, cultural meaning, and sometimes even controversy. Understanding them gives us a window into how societies perceive extreme wealth and how the ultra-rich themselves choose to be identified, or, in some cases, how they resist being labeled at all. The terminology surrounding extraordinary wealth has evolved dramatically over centuries, shifting from titles rooted in land and nobility to modern classifications built around net worth, investment portfolios, and global influence. Each label tells a story, and together they paint a vivid picture of what it means to possess more money than most people could ever imagine spending in multiple lifetimes. The word millionaire has been around for centuries, and for a long time it represented the absolute pinnacle of personal wealth. Coined in the 17th century and popularized in the 18th and 19th centuries, the term originally described someone whose total assets or net worth exceeded 1 million units of their local currency. In an era when $1 million or pounds was an almost incomprehensible sum, being called a millionaire placed a person in an entirely different social stratosphere. The word carried glamour, mystery, and aspiration. It inspired novels, films, and cultural myths. However, as economies grew, inflation took hold, and global markets expanded, the millionaire label began to lose some of its exclusive shine. Today there are estimated to be over 56 million millionaires worldwide, a number that continues to grow each year. While being a millionaire still represents significant financial success, it no longer signals the kind of extreme, almost mythological wealth it once did. The goalposts have moved considerably, and the language of wealth has had to evolve right along with them. If millionaire was the gold standard of the 20th century, then billionaire is undeniably the defining wealth label of the 21st century. A billionaire is someone whose net worth reaches or exceeds $1 billion, a figure so large that it genuinely defies everyday human comprehension. To put it in perspective, if you spent $1 million every single day, it would take you nearly 3 years to spend $1 billion. The billionaire class has exploded in recent decades, fueled by the rise of technology, global finance, and unprecedented market growth. According to Forbes, there are now over 2,700 billionaires in the world, collectively holding wealth that rivals the gross domestic product of entire nations. The word billionaire has become a cultural lightning rod, simultaneously representing aspiration, innovation, and for many critics, systemic inequality. Names like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bernard Arnault have made the billionaire label synonymous with world-altering influence, where a single individual's financial decisions can move markets, shape industries, and even influence geopolitical conversations. As remarkable as the billionaire label sounds, even within that rarefied group there are distinctions that demand new terminology. Enter the centibillionaire, a word that has entered mainstream financial vocabulary only within the last decade or so. A centibillionaire is an individual whose net worth surpasses $100 billion, placing them in a category so exclusive that only a handful of people on the entire planet qualify at any given time. The prefix centi, meaning 100, is borrowed from the Latin tradition of numerical prefixes, and its application here signals just how far the upper boundaries of personal wealth have been pushed. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg have all crossed this threshold at various points, their fortunes fluctuating with stock market movements and business performance. The emergence of the centibillionaire label reflects a broader reality. Wealth concentration at the very top has accelerated so dramatically that existing vocabulary simply could not keep pace. This new word is not just a financial classification, it is a cultural marker of an era defined by technological disruption and unprecedented capital accumulation. Not all labels for the ultra-wealthy are purely financial in nature. Some carry deep political and social weight, and few do so more powerfully than the word plutocrat. Derived from the Greek words plotos, meaning wealth, and kratos, meaning power or rule, a plutocrat is someone who exercises political influence or even outright control through their enormous financial resources. The term has ancient roots, appearing in Greek political philosophy as a description of governance systems where the wealthy hold disproportionate power over public life. In modern usage, plutocrat carries a distinctly critical tone. It is rarely a self-applied label. Instead, it is used by journalists, academics, and political commentators to describe individuals or groups whose wealth gives them access to levers of power that ordinary citizens simply cannot reach. Lobbying governments, funding political campaigns, owning major media outlets, and shaping public policy through private foundations are all behaviors associated with plutocratic influence. The label serves as a reminder that extreme wealth is never purely a private matter. It inevitably intersects with questions of democracy, fairness, and the distribution of power in society. Closely related to the plutocrat but carrying its own distinct flavor is the term oligarch. While plutocrat can apply broadly across different societies, oligarch has become particularly associated with the super-wealthy elite of post-Soviet nations, especially Russia. The word comes from the Greek oligarchia, meaning rule by the few, and it describes individuals who accumulated vast fortunes, often through the rapid and controversial privatization of state assets following the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. Russian oligarchs became globally notorious figures in the 1990s and 2000s, known for their extravagant lifestyles, massive yachts, luxury properties across Europe and beyond, and their complex relationships with political power. However, the term is not exclusively Russian. It is applied to wealthy power brokers in Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and other post-Soviet states, as well as in other regions where wealth and political influence are seen as deeply intertwined. The oligarch label carries connotations of opacity, political entanglement, and wealth, acquired through means that may not always withstand close scrutiny. Moving away from culturally loaded terms, the financial industry has developed its own precise clinical vocabulary for categorizing wealthy clients. The term high net worth individual, commonly abbreviated as HNWI in financial documents, refers to someone with liquid financial assets exceeding $1 million, excluding their primary residence. This classification is used by banks, wealth management firms, and investment advisors to tailor their services and products to clients with significant investable assets. One step above this sits the very high net worth individual, typically defined as someone with assets between $5 million and $30 million. And at the very top of this clinical hierarchy is the ultra-high net worth individual, or UHNWI, a designation reserved for those with investable assets exceeding $30 million. These labels may lack the cultural drama of terms like oligarch or plutocrat, but they serve a very practical purpose in the world of private banking and wealth management, helping financial institutions understand exactly what level of service, investment strategy, and personalized attention their clients require. What is perhaps most striking about all of these labels is what they collectively reveal about our relationship with extreme wealth as a society. Each term, whether it is the aspirational glow of millionaire, the awe-inspiring scale of centibillionaire, the political charge of plutocrat, or the geopolitical weight of oligarch, reflects a particular cultural moment and a particular set of values and anxieties. The vocabulary of wealth is never neutral. It is always shaped by the economic conditions, political climates, and social tensions of its time. As wealth inequality continues to grow globally and as new technologies create new pathways to extraordinary fortune, it is almost certain that our language will continue to evolve. New labels will emerge to capture new realities. Old terms will be repurposed, contested, or abandoned. What remains constant is the human impulse to name, categorize, and make sense of the extraordinary concentration of resources in the hands of the very few. These words matter because they shape how we think about wealth, power, and the kind of world we want to live in.